We had talked about potential energy, how it's a stored energy. And we looked at the rubber band with elastic potential energy, and then we looked at gravitational potential energy in the rock. We watched the Wile and Coyote and the Road Runner. Then we looked at elastic potential energy. Now look at how much energy it's requiring to compress that coil. And then that energy is going to be converted to kinetic energy. And then to gravitational potential energy. Then back to kinetic energy. Back from potential energy to kinetic energy. So this is where we start today with gravitational potential energy. I'd like for you to add this to your formula sheet. So go ahead and add potential energy equals mass times gravity times height. And then add these three up here. This is just reconfiguring so we can calculate mass if we have gravity and height and potential energy. We can calculate gravity, we can calculate height. Gravity is almost always 9.8 meters per second squared. That is the constant that we count it as, but remember, really that's only true if we are right at sea level. But this is the number we will be using to calculate it. Gravity will actually decrease the further away we get from the Earth. Remember we talked about that? So gravitational pull will decrease the further that we get away from the Earth, but mathematically we're always just going to use 9.8 meters per second squared. So we can see that gravitational potential energy actually depends upon the mass and the height. So if we take a look at this picture here, the more mass you have means we have more gravitational potential energy. So this one we have more potential energy because this one has a lot more mass, right? So let's take a look at these two pictures here. I don't know if you can tell, this guy is a cliff diver jumping off a cliff. So we have a very, very high dive there. And over here, we have this guy get ready to jump off into there. Which one has more potential energy? The cliff diver. Why? Because he has much more height. So I'm going to show you at least one video of some cliff diving. Video 2. Okay. So he's pretty high up, right? So if you have a very high height, makes me dizzy. I would just see all those rocks down there and think, oh man, I hope that water is really, really deep.